Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, Niles. Hello, and thanks for tuning in this afternoon for Niles Voice of Business. The live stream will feature interviews with local business owners, professionals, and village representatives to provide resources and insights for the businesses of Niles. Today, Isabel Negro. Isabel, did I pronounce your last name right?
Nigro. But
Nigro, thank you. I meant to ask you that before we started.
No
Isabel Nigro, owner of Izzy's Arcade Bar, Salon M, and formerly Kitty Kingdom, joins us. Isabel, can you tell us a little bit about the history of your business ownership here in Niles?
Sure. Well, our family purchased the property there on Milwaukee Avenue back about 18 years ago as an investment. We had it fully rented at the time. Well, 5 of the 6 locations were rented. And we purchased it to put our salon there. Our background is all in the hair industry. So there was a location available in there for our salon. So that's where we plan to build that. And then, unfortunately, shortly after we purchased it, the economy kind of took a downward spiral, and we lost a lot of the tenants that we had. In fact, we lost 4 of them pretty quickly. And so we had to think of something to do with the space because it was really hard to find renters for those large spaces. So we created Kitty Kingdom. And so Kitty Kingdom was there for a little over 9 years.
Okay.
And then 2 years ago, we opened, a little over 2 years now, we opened Izzy's Arcade Bar after we lost our last tenant in the 6th location, or 6th spot in that location. And so that's how Izzy's came to be.
Okay, so when you lose tenants, you create businesses. That's kind of interesting.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
So COVID has hit everyone hard, some businesses harder than others, and you recently had to make the difficult decision to close Kitty Kingdom. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We did. We had to make the very difficult decision to close Kitty Kingdom. It was a very emotional decision as well. Our kids grew up there, and we watched families grow up there. So it was very difficult for us to say goodbye to that business. But unfortunately, we knew probably by the end of June that it was going to be almost impossible to come back from this pandemic, and that we knew that the uncertainty of everything would last quite some time after things, or when things go back to normal. And we knew we couldn't sustain it financially. It's a big space, and we have a mortgage to pay there. We have the taxes to pay there. So, and reopening at the capacities that we're allowed to is not an option for us, just because we'd have to hire new staff, and that with the amount of people we're allowed, there's no way that we could make that work. So unfortunately, and with the safety of our staff, our families, our customers in mind, we knew that, God forbid, if somebody got sick in our facility, that, we wouldn't be able to handle that. And just everything. We just knew that the entertainment industry as a whole has really taken the hardest hit with this pandemic. Every type of entertainment really has suffered, and unfortunately that's been our business. But we are sad with the community. We got so many messages of love and kindness and all kinds of stuff that makes me cry every time I think about it. But
yeah, okay. Well, we're gonna move on because I don't want you to cry. So let's talk about Izzy's. You said Izzy's opened 2 years ago?
Yeah. So we opened Izzy's. Izzy's was an interesting time. So people had talked about our food all the time and said, "Oh, I love Kitty Kingdom's food, but I feel funny going into a kid's place if I don't have my kids with me." And so we kind of, felt in an area that we needed some fun stuff to have for adults, and since that was there, we opened up the kitchen, and that became.
So whose brainchild was it to bring in the old arcade games?
It's kind of funny. If anybody's been into our businesses, they kind of know my husband and I work together all the time. And so my husband had this idea of collecting all these vintage games and having them in this space, and then charging a cover charge to come in and play as long as you want. Well, after talking to him, I was like, well, we have this big kitchen and we have this great menu. So we have our liquor license. So you know what? Why don't we just make it a bar and an experience? We had the games on, and we decided to do that for free as long as they spent a certain amount of money in our facility. So we collectively created the concept that we came up with.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. The games are all free.
Sure. So the games are free as long as you spend $10 per person. So if you have a group of 4, as long as your bill at least hits $40, you can stay and play as long as you'd like. Except during this pandemic, now we have to limit it to 2 hours per person, actually, and that's it. So, I mean, as long as and that goes towards food or beverage. So as long as you spend $10 per person on food or beverage, you can play for as long as you want. Normally 2 hours during COVID.
Okay. And is there an age requirement or age limit?
So yes, there is. Right now we are 10 and above only. So 10 and up only. We don't allow the little ones in there. I don't know that we will too, now that we've closed Kitty Kingdom. Originally that was kind of strategic on our part because we had the little kids over on Kitty Kingdom, older kids over at Izzys. And I think that we're going to keep that because I think that it's nice still for the adults to not have the little ones running around, and they can't play those games anyway. So, I think
but a parent can still bring their teenager in. And
absolutely, yeah. So the way that we had it prior to COVID is that you could have teenagers in there up until 9 o'clock, and then it was 21 and up. Okay. Right now our hours are kind of crazy because of COVID, so they're shortened hours. So right now they can be in there pretty much the hours that we're open.
And what are your hours currently?
Right now we're open 4 to 9 or 10, depending on the customer base in there. If it's dead at 9, we typically close, but we're trying to stay open as long as we can, as long as we're hoping to get some more business in there to keep us open longer. So
yeah. And what age group do you find that Izzys appeals to most?
It was really interesting because I thought that we knew that it would appeal to our age group. So people that grew up in the 80s and that remember playing these games and had those, the old school arcades back in the day. But it appealed, teenagers love these games, which is crazy to me because their games are so much more advanced than those, but they love playing them. We have a bunch of, younger 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, they're all in there. Plus we try to have some craft beers going on. Right now our beer menu is limited during COVID just for freshness purposes, to be honest with you. But normally we have a huge beer selection, and that's one of the draws as well in our facility.
Okay. I know, I don't know if it was this Christmas or last Christmas, my son came to visit me from California, and we came in, and I had to drag him out of there. He enjoyed the game so much. And Nick at the time was 26.
Yeah.
So really appealed to his age group. So I know COVID has hit Izzy's harder than many of our other restaurants. You don't have the outdoor seating. So for the longest time, all you had was carry out.
Yeah.
Now you've got people allowed back in.
We do.
How's all of it going?
So we're struggling, to say the least. I mean, it's been difficult. We are open to the public. We did think about having something in our parking lot. The problem with our parking lot is we do get a lot of sun exposure there, and it's very uncomfortable with the sun beating down on you, even with the tent during these especially crazy hot months. And so with the costs incurred on that, and we weren't getting enough business to make it possible. So now that we're open, we're really just trying to take as many precautions as we can to make people comfortable to come in. And that's the key here is what we need to do is we need to have more people come in to stay
so
open.
Talk to me about the precautions that you're taking for people coming inside.
So our facility is a little different because you're not just sitting at a table. The goal, the whole concept of our business is to be walking around and to play the games and all that. So a couple of things that we've done is when you first walk in, there's a hand sanitizing station there, so you can sanitize the second that you come in. We're seating people at every other table, so we're leaving plenty of space, more than 6 feet in between each table. All of our staff wears masks, of course. Some of them wear shields as well. And then we have sanitizing stations throughout the facility as well. We sanitize the games as much as we possibly can. We keep everything just as clean as possible. Our staff is constantly cleaning. We're constantly trying to make sure that anything that anybody has touched is being sanitized. I
have to say, I was talking to somebody who was there recently, and he commented on being very impressed that the minute he finished with a game, somebody was over there sanitizing it so that you weren't touching a game that somebody else had just touched, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to do our due diligence on trying not to spread this, and we don't, that's the last thing that we want, and we want people to feel safe in our facility too. So it's very important to us for sure.
That is good to know.
Even our bar table, like our bar seats. So we don't have the seats at the bar right now, just so that there's less exposure between the bartender and the customers as well. So, it's seating at tables. That way there's not a lot of contact.
Excellent. So this question isn't down here, so if you don't want to answer it, it's okay. But you are faced with the unique challenge right now of running a business and supervising e-learning for 5 children.
Yes.
How's that going?
It's awful. Cool. It's interesting. We thought that there was going to be a hybrid situation this year, and it turns out that there's not. So they're just home, and I'm dealing with a 7 to 14-year-old, group of 5 kids here. So, it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of yelling.
Oh gosh. Okay. So we are going to finish up. We usually ask people, what's your favorite place to eat? Yes. But I know your favorite place to eat. Yeah. So what is your favorite item on the menu at Izzy's?
Oh, absolutely the Izzy sandwich, for sure.
The Izzy sandwich. Okay. Tell me about it, because I've not had the Izzy sandwich. Sure.
It's a grilled chicken sandwich with provolone. It's got roasted red pepper and jardiniere. It's amazing.
Ooh, that sounds amazing. I may have to come and get that. So we enjoy your pizzas quite a bit. My dad particularly enjoys your pizzas. Oh, okay. And so quite often I will stop and pick one up on the way home. Good. Well, Isabel, thank you for spending time with us today. We appreciate it. Yeah. And Niles, go out and pick something up from Izzy's and stop and play a few games.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.